This week we're going to preview USDA's acreage and grain stocks report that come out on Friday, June 28th. We're also going to take a look at the historical price volatility associated with those reports. Then we're going to turn our attention to crop condition and progress, along with the latest short-term weather forecast, and wrap things up with a long-term review of November soybean futures. Hi, this is Brian Basting with Advanced Trading. Let's talk about the soybean market. We've moved into the last week of June here, and this market remains historically weak. We're going to start out this week, however, looking at the USDA reports that were released on Friday, June 28th. Now, there's two reports that will come out. Acreage report will update the planting intentions for 2024, and the grain stocks report will update inventories as of June 1st. Let's take a look at the trade estimates. Now, this is important. The trade is looking for 86.8 million acres in terms of the soybean acreage, was 86.5 in March, and looking for soybean stocks of 962 million bushel. Last year, for reference, was 796. Here's the key message. As you look at these, look at that narrow range in the bean acreage, for example. Only 2 million acres from the low end of the range to the high end of the range. Keep an eye on where that number comes out Friday relative to the average and the range. Now let's take a look at the price volatility. What this chart shows is the historical change in old crop July futures and new crop November futures on the day that those reports are released for the last 25 years. You can see that there's some years here where the market's been higher, other years when the market has been lower. Here's the key message. We strongly encourage you to work closely with your trusted risk management advisor to have your risk management positions in place prior to the release of these reports on Friday. Let's now shift gears and look at the crop condition ratings across the U.S. Now, this is the latest report from the USDA. You can see that the good to excellent ratings at lower left-hand corner declined 3 points this week from 70 to 67%. Notice, however, last year at this time was only 51%. Several states were unchanged, Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas among them, but we did see some declines up in the northern plains as well as parts of the eastern corn belt. Now let's take a look at the history of the crop condition index here. Notice it's declined here for 2 consecutive weeks after that initial ratings came out earlier this month. We're still looking at a rating, however, that's well above that red line depicting last year. Key message, look at that volatility throughout the summer months. Upside, downside, all over the place. And this is where you want to manage price volatility throughout the summer months. Let's now turn our attention to crop progress here. We're looking at soybeans blooming here as of June 23rd, 8% nationally. Highlighted here over the next 2 weeks, soybeans blooming increase about 22%. So we'll be looking at about 30% of the beans blooming around that 4th of July weekend. Let's now shift gears to the weather. Our slides this week, as usual, are courtesy of T-Storm Weather. We're starting out here looking at precip of the last 14 days. A very difficult situation for folks up there in southern Minnesota, parts of northwest Iowa, parts of southeast South Dakota. With all the rain, you can see intensely wet. As we move south and east, however, notice it dries out quite a bit. So really quite a bit of divergence there. Let's now take a look at the short-term forecast. We're looking here the next 7 to 10 days. Temperature-wise in the north and in the east, it's going to be cool. Highs in the 70s, lows in the 50s. But as you go further south and further west, highs in the 90s and lows in the 70s. What about rainfall? Thursday through Saturday of this week, the rainfall is going to be south of the areas that we just highlighted that are extremely wet, 1/2 inch to 1 inch. What about next week? 4th of July, July 4th through the 8th. Unfortunately, it looks like for some of those folks in the north could get some rainfall return in that area. And as you move further south, however, it's going to be warm. So quite a divergence again in the pattern. Let's quantify rain over the next 2 weeks. Now again, on this map, primarily across the Midwest, no incidences of dry conditions here. We're looking at very ample rainfall, some cases maybe a bit too wet, but regardless, there's no sign on this chart for the next 2 weeks of dry conditions across the growing areas. Let's wrap things up this week looking at trends in November beans. The November beans, as we tape here on Tuesday, have plummeted all the way down to $11.15 a bushel. And you can see now, even between now, here at the end of June, and that insurance period there in October, we still have the potential for quite a bit of volatility. So again, strongly encourage you to work closely with your trusted risk management advisor to manage price movement. Now, if you'd like more information, please feel free to contact us at 800-664-2321. We'll put you in contact with one of our risk management consultants We'd be happy to visit with you at your convenience. And remember, we upload every Wednesday. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and never miss an upload. And remember, on Friday this week, we'll have a live YouTube update at 11 a.m. Central Time when the USDA releases the reports, and then we'll follow that up at 1:30 p.m. Central Time with a deep dive into the numbers. Thanks a lot. Have a good week.